I think about marketing, it seems humongous, and it's really hard to figure out what I can specifically do right now that seems manageable, that will make an impact. Hi, my name is Maggie Bowling of Old Homeplace Farm in Clay County, Kentucky, and we raise 2 acres of vegetables, and then we also raise grass-fed beef, pork, sheep, and goats. I am unusual that I do not go to any farmers markets anymore. So my sales situation really is reaching people through the internet for direct marketing through my online farm store and CSA. When I think about marketing, I think about it 2 ways, and one of those ways is how do I get new customers and get the word out about my products and my farm. And the other way I think about marketing is how am I retaining those customers and making sure my existing customers are having a really good experience of the farm. And right now, I probably spend most of my marketing time on relationships with new and existing customers and not on how am I spreading the word about the farm. I think that most people are thinking about marketing and like, how do I get bigger, more sales from new venues? But I have had a really hard time with reaching out and converting new people. So I'm like, once I get a customer, how am I making sure they stay? And I don't know that's how people always think about marketing, but that's where a lot of my focus goes. But in doing marketing for new customers and marketing to existing customers, I'm using social media and email marketing. Several years ago at a farming conference, I heard Corinna Bench give a presentation, and the title of the presentation was Relationship Marketing, and that really resonated with me, that since I'm selling everything direct to consumer, I'm also really selling a relationship. And so I am really looking for ways for how I'm building relationships with my customers and making them feel special and included in part of the farm, not only that they're happy with the vegetables. Now, my goal is to have a marketing plan for the week, but that honestly doesn't always plan out. There are a few things that I'm always going to do. I will make sure on Saturday that my email list and my CSA email list both get their weekly emails. I spend a lot of time making sure that my CSA members feel supported and happy with the CSA experience. So I am doing that through a private Facebook group and also through a weekly CSA newsletter and some on-farm events that give CSA members special perks. So every Saturday, it's really important to me that my CSA members get an email that gives them a heads up of what's going to be in the CSA next week, how they should store all their vegetables, recipes for the week, and any news about the farm that's really relevant, so that it's never a mystery when they get their CSA. They know ahead, they can meal plan. I'm trying to make it be really convenient, and it's not just a thing that shows up in the middle of the week. I want them to have a good experience with the CSA. And then I also do sell things a la carte through my online store. And so I have a lot of regular customers that do that. And so that email list also gets a Saturday email with everything that's going to be on the online store, the way to store those vegetables, some recipe suggestions, and any information about the farm. And those 2 things are very important to me, that they get them every single week on Saturday so they can plan for the week. And then on Tuesday, I will always post on my public Facebook page what's in the CSA that week. And then on Wednesday, I am always making sure all restaurant accounts have communication with them, because that's also, goes into this relationship marketing of not trying to get new restaurant accounts, but make sure the ones I have are really happy so that they have timely communication and, have what they need. And then the other days of the week, I am trying to post on social media, maybe 4 or 5 times a week. and that does not always happen. But those other days that aren't my days I already laid out, I'm trying to put something on social media about the farm, whether that's something fun that's going on, a new crop that's going on. I don't want to force there to be content, but I'm always, when I'm working in the field, looking for something that I can post. I always have my cell phone in my pocket when I'm working. And that can be kind of annoying to feel like I'm attached to my phone, even though there's no cell phone service in this field. So I'm not getting customer calls or getting interrupted with that in the field because there's not cell phone service here in these mountains. But I always have my phone in my pocket because I want to be able to take a picture of anything when something looks particularly picturesque or something is funny, or it's always an undercurrent in my brain that I need to be creating content for my email newsletters and also for social media. I use my Facebook page and my Instagram for, the public, for everyone to see content. And that's where I'm really focusing on trying to hook new people in to interacting with my farm. So the content that I'm going to put on my Facebook and Instagram pages are going to be not as specific as I might give to existing customers, but they're going to be more about farm life, pretty things on the farm, what's available, any events or news I just want anyone to know. And then I will do specific sales pushes on those when I really am trying to get new people to buy a specific product. A lot of times I'm not making super salesy pushes on my Facebook and Instagram. I'm just trying to get people to follow along and interact with my content, and then I will specifically schedule like sales pushes on those. And then I have a personal Facebook group that's only for CSA members that are getting more content specifically about what's going on that week and information they might need to know, specific more recipe stuff. And then other people in the CSA are also interacting in that, so I'm not the only content creation in that group. And then my email newsletters are for existing customers or people that have just signed up onto my email list, and they're going to get some general knowledge about the farm, but also, they'll get first access to what's on the online store. So if there's strawberries up, that will probably never make it to my Facebook. Like, that's going to be for people that have already subscribed to my email list. And also for on-farm events, they'll get access to information about tickets way before anybody on the general Facebook page. So I'm trying to make my existing customers feel really special and keep them. And I always want to be hooking new people, but a lot of my customer conversions that I've actually had into paying long-term good customers have come from social proof and word of mouth from other customers. So I want to make sure that my existing customers love the farm and they want to tell other people. It's very rare that I get a person that has no connection to any of my other customers as a farmer. It does happen, and I found a lot of that comes from social media, but a lot of times I'm trying to work on how do I get word of mouth to spread about the farm. I'm not putting ads in the newspaper or doing a lot of things that I think would be traditional advertising, and it's taken me a long time to find what works for me and what seems manageable. Things that seem manageable for me for marketing are making sure that my customers get their weekly email and are up to date and are not unaware about what's happening on the farm. Making sure I'm posting on social media seems manageable. And a lot of things that I count under the umbrella of marketing but might not traditionally be as such that seem really manageable to me are making sure when customers are actually converted and they've got their first order or their 500th order, that everything is packaged really nice, everything's perfectly clean, that their pickup situation is really seamless, so that it's not a bad interaction and they think their food is really good. And early on, I would have people get their first bag and they'd be like, "It's washed." And I'm like, "Of course it's clean." But to them it made an impact. So all the little things that I don't think are traditionally in marketing but make for a good customer experience, I really want to make sure happen, because I know many of people have said this. I think Joel Salatin's the first place I read this, that it is so much easier to get 100 customers to buy $1,000 worth of product than to get 1,000 customers to buy $100 worth of product. And for me, that is so true. It is so much easier to get my existing customers to buy an extra product, to say, you have a vegetable CSA, do you want to add a weekly flour CSA on? Do you want to buy meat? Do you want to buy honey? Than it is to get a new customer to buy 1 pound of tomatoes. So keeping my customers buying more products and focusing marketing there than getting another person to buy 1 pound of tomatoes is a lot easier. Trying to sell vegetables to people can be tricky because it is always going to be more convenient to go to the grocery store while you're picking up other things and get all of your vegetables there. But I'm trying to make it as easy as possible and convenient to buy from me, but also make value-added propositions that make the customers feel special and like they're getting really high-quality product. When I have done yearly surveys of my customers, what has actually surprised me the most is the number one thing that comes back that they're excited about is their relationship with the farmer and supporting a local farm. It's not about vegetables. So that really shows me how important marketing myself and the farm is, not just having quality vegetables. But you do have to have a great product for people to feel like it's a good experience and to have a good relationship with you. And I found that growing some more unusual vegetables that people maybe can't get in the local grocery store or they just really appreciate is fun and that they wouldn't have tried otherwise. But I also can't grow all weird vegetables. So, I need to have strawberries to say, you could try some microgreens too. So have a balance of your product. And I think over time, you kind of figure out what people are buying. And I think a big part of marketing is asking for customer feedback. So you can't be scared of people giving you criticism because that's going to make you so much better. There's always going to be someone out there that doesn't like your product, so you don't need to listen to every negative voice, but some of them are extremely valid and really help me improve on my product quality and the variety of products I'm growing. One of the biggest challenges in marketing for me is really making time for there to be marketing, because it takes a lot of time and specific effort to get the result that I want out of marketing. And it really isn't just saying, oh, there's my dog, she's cute, and I take a picture and post it on social media. Like, that's not really going to do anything for me. So I really do have to think about what I want to post and how I want to do it and when I want to post it, whether that be time in the week, time in the day, or time in the year. And also realize that I am not going to convince someone to buy something the first time or the 50th time they're interacting with the farm. So how am I setting up systems that they're constantly interacting with me and maybe eventually get converted into a paying customer? And it is a struggle to not see like immediate results when you start doing some kind of marketing campaign and knowing that it might take a few times. When I'm trying to figure out if my marketing has been successful through sales, it can be frustrating. For instance, during National CSA Week, I sent out a really big email marketing campaign that I spent a ton of time on to my existing email list that were non-CSA members, and I really don't think that I got any conversions. And that was very frustrating because I spent a lot of time on that. But I used almost all of the content from that email information campaign on my social media the same week, and I got a lot of CSA signups from social media. And that is not something I was expecting. But the content creation was the same, and I used it 2 places, and then I could see which one really worked. And past years the email has worked, so I think it's always going to be a little bit different, but looking back and seeing where I got conversions from is really helpful for planning for the future. One other thing I think about in marketing is making sure that customers who are a little bit interested in your farm have an easy way to get the information they want. So on our website, if someone is interested in CSA, I want them to be able to go to the page and see pictures from past years. I want them to have most all of their questions answered, so they don't feel like they don't understand what a CSA is, because it can be an unusual product to buy, and it costs a lot of money, and it's a long-term commitment. So I want to manage customers' expectations, so if they want to buy that product, they know fully well what they're getting into. We are fairly unique in that we are not selling into any major metropolitan areas, and we have consciously made the decision from the beginning that we wanted to sell where we live. So we are marketing in a 5-county area around the farm in eastern Kentucky. And that definitely made me think that would have marketing challenges that are very different in a city. And the major one really is there's just less people. And so if there's really only, I'm making up this number, 10% of people that are even interested in buying local produce, 10% of the population where we're selling is much smaller than 10% of the population in a city. But I do think that there is a really big sense of community, and once I've got started, people really appreciate that we are selling in our area. So really leaning into local food and community building has really helped us in our population that we're trying to reach. I think that people think, oh, well, nobody there will want to buy local food. They all have gardens, or it's not a really high income area. But we found there are people that do want local food here and do appreciate it. A lot of the messaging for selling produce in our area, I think, is the same as any other place, about being proud of your product, about having a really good customer experience, making sure everything's presented really well, and sharing the story of you. We're relationship marketing here just the way that you would be in a city, and in some ways I think it might be easier to relationship market here than it is in a city. So I think that, even in 2023 is very different of marketing local food in a rural area than 1993 is. And I think people are really open to that message if you try it, and you do have to put a lot of effort into reaching more people, but it really is possible. I think one of the biggest things I want to stress about marketing is that you don't have to do all of the things at once. I'm still not doing all of the things I want to. I find it manageable to find one piece of marketing that I want to start doing and try that out for a while and see how effective that is for me. And then after that, it's easier to say, I heard this other farmer's doing this other thing, let me add one more thing on. It's hard when I, will listen to farm podcasts or read farm books, and it seems like there's so much out there and I don't know how to do it. And I've really learned a lot from Corinna Bench and the My Digital Farmer podcast and her website. And she makes it seem manageable. She's telling me 100 things you could do to get better at marketing, but Corinna makes it seem like, oh, that one right there is reachable to me right now. And that piece, I don't have time for when I'm learning about it in August, but I'm gonna make a note and flag that podcast episode, and I'm gonna re-listen to it in January when I have time to focus on that piece. And I think knowing you don't have to do it right now, maybe even just learn about some marketing things and then come back to them when you do have more time. Corinna Bench's marketing has made me see that a lot of things that you wouldn't think of marketing actually are, which is all those relationships, or even having people come out to your farm. So we're doing 3 to 4 farm events every year, which is exhausting. try to make it seem like the farm doesn't look like a disaster for people to come see it. But I think it's really important for people to get to interact and see you're actually growing stuff and spend one-on-one time with you. So that's another aspect that I'm not counting those farm events as like this is a big money maker as an event. Those farm events are marketing to get people either to retain as customers or for new customers to come and see how cool the farm is. Making time for marketing is very hard for me, and I do not always keep doing all of the things that I mean to do. There are definitely times where I've let stuff go in the field because restaurants needed communication and my email list needed to know what they could buy on the store next week, and it was the only time I had to choose weeding, or I had to choose making sure people had information so they knew it was in their CSA or they knew what they could purchase. And there are periods of the year where I know my marketing is going to slide down. And that usually is happening in August and September for me because